cancelled.
Hello, everyone. Pardon the technical difficulties today. Welcome to Chakra 7, the Crown Chakra, thousand-petaled lotus. This is a big one. Thousand-fold, excuse me, or thousand-petaled, for what it's worth. So what we've been talking about in this series really is around chakra theory, right? It's the theory of the 7 main chakras as a blueprint for wholeness, psychological wholeness, excuse me. And, if you think about, moving up from the first, chakra 1, the survival to procreation, to the mastery of will in the 3rd chakra, to love, compassion in the 4th, communication, right? And intuition in the 6th. And then we come to the 7th, which is really the most subtle of them all in many ways. That is consciousness itself, thought. And all of these properties, all of these characteristics are super important in human life, right? We have to survive. We have to feel pleasure. Actually, is the 2nd chakra. It's about pleasure in all its forms, and procreation. We have to use those instincts to sharpen our will to move forward with our goals and dreams. We have to feel compassion for ourselves and others, right? With the heart, that heart energy. And I'm always loving the heart energy, for my own practice, because, staying in that energy is so important. And then we move to communicating, with others, this pro-social behavior of the 5th chakra, and then visioning, having a vision for our lives, having a vision of what it is to be a human being, with the 6th. So chakra 7 is its elements, its properties are consciousness and thought. And, looking at Anadea's work, as I always do, the principles are about truth, consciousness, and bliss. Sat-Chit-Ananda. I found Anadea through my own yoga practice, and when I took teacher training. She is trained, or at least very knowledgeable of the tantric philosophy. And I think I've said it before, Tantra in the West kind of gets this sexual rap to it, because it does have very specific sexual practices. But Tantra on its own sees the senses as pathways really to liberation. And so, obviously the sexual senses, that's one pathway, but there are many in the tantric philosophy. And it's super important to keep that in mind. If you are new to Tantra, you can look up Anadea on the web, and she'll point you in some great directions. And really, it's Kashmiri Shaivism. Shaivism is kind of the study of Shiva as a harbinger of, or a bringer of ultimate truth. So, but Shiva and Shakti they go hand in hand. Shakti is his consort, and Shakti is much more than that. So, but the purpose of this chakra is really the universal unity and awareness of the divine. And so we're going to do the chant for it on Thursday, and just that knowledge, just, excuse me, working with the vowel sound, which isn't really a vowel sound. It's an ing, like sing, ing, excuse me, not ing, ing, to clear anything, and using Om to stimulate. Now, Om is, I call it the universal bija sound, right? The universal mantra. I think it's known as that. As I've said before, chakra 6 is often Om is often used for chakra 6. And then silence is used for chakra 7. I do Sham for chakra 6 and Om for chakra 7. So you can know that and play with that in your own practice. We will also do some silence practice as well. When we wrap up next week, we're going to have a class where we just do all of the bija sounds together. And at the end of that, experience silence. Because when you're working with this, what we're working to get to is this sense of emptiness, this space, cultivating this space within, and really experiencing that and not being afraid of that. Because if you've ever done anything creatively, you get to a point where you have to you have to empty out so that new information can come in. And there's lots of ways to do that. Taking a walk in nature, anything that can support your creative life, but also life is a creative act, so sometimes you just have to empty. We talk about this vegging out state, right? There are good and bad ways to do that. This emptiness, though, is this appreciation of the divine, right? This seeking the emptiness so that the fullness, emptiness is a Shiva principle, right? This masculine principle of just being emptied out. And then in comes the feminine with this fullness, right? So it's this dance. And that's really what's so great about chakra theory, is it helps you move through these different areas on the body, experiencing these different parts of life and what it is to be human, and then being empty. Because, when you're too full, if your schedule's too full, if you're doing too much, you eventually you just kind of run yourself down. So this emptiness is very, very important. And by chanting Om, you can experience that for yourself, with, in the comfort of your own home. She writes this beautiful passage. I just want to share it with you. Okay. Chakra theory tells us that it is both a stimulation of intelligence to give us information, and a withdrawal to the interior where information is sifted into ultimate knowledge. Our thousand-petaled lotus must keep its roots in the earth to maintain its blossom. And, this is, when we talk about, I have to process something, I need to take this new information. I need time to let it settle, for me to go within, to contemplate what it means to me, and to, come up with a workable solution for myself. And it is, this element of thought, and thinking about something, contemplating it, seeing how it works in your being, in your system. That chakra theory can, working with the bija sounds can really, really help. You get to know very quickly what's going on in your interior, what your awareness is of any, new stimuli that's coming into your life, into yourself. So one more thing, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And Anadea in, this book, Wheels of Life, talks about the types of consciousness. Let's see. The consciousness of the crown chakra, it can be roughly divided into two types depending on where our attention goes. Attention. Take a moment, close your eyes, place your attention on the tip of your nose. Now place it on your chin, on your right earlobe, on your left, at the top of your head. If you want to find the crown chakra, the gland is the pituitary. It is also in kind of midbrain section. The crown, for my head, when I feel it, when I feel the top of my head, it's actually flat. There's a little bit of flatness there. And so there's the tip of the head and moving back. I see the third eye back there. It's not the third eye, sorry, the crown chakra back there. So place your awareness there. That is awareness, right? It's where you're focusing. And that actually is your attention, excuse me. The awareness is the focus of intention. You're aware where you're focusing your attention. That which descends and becomes concrete information used for manifesting in the world. So that's the first type. And that which expands and travels outward towards more abstract planes. The first is oriented toward the world of things, relationships, and the concrete self. So I would say more of the personal realm. It is a result of limiting attention. It is the consciousness that actively thinks, reasons, learns, and stores information. It is our cognitive consciousness. And she says it's the lower focus of the crown chakra, and I agree with her, organizing finite bits into details or even larger structures. The second type of consciousness is what she calls transcendent consciousness. It interfaces to the realm beyond the world of things and relationships. It is consciousness without an object, so it's big, the macrocosm, without awareness or reference to the individual self, so transpersonal, and without the wide fluctuations that occur in the logical and comparative thought patterns of cognitive consciousness. It floats in meta-awareness, encompassing all things simultaneously without focusing on any objects in particular. So I think what the chakra system and the theory points out so well is the paradoxical experience of life. The Shiva and the Shakti, the masculine, the feminine, the finite and the infinite. And really yoga, is yoking the individual with the divine, right? We experience both in our lives if we are open to that. Some people really just like to stay in the cognitive consciousness realm, and that's great too. But there are others, and I'm one of them, that sort of feel this pulse, this play, and Tantra has a word for it called spanda. It's this pulse, this pulsation of contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, finite, infinite, right? Microcosm, macrocosm. So, chakra 7 is where, you can experience the transpersonal, the transcendent, something beyond yourself. But you have to be really careful, because you have to keep that rooted if you want to stay rooted, if you want to stay grounded, right? Some people who have experienced this, and maybe it's excessive in them, an excessively developed chakra 7, they can kind of get this spiritual addiction. They don't want to be grounded in the realities of life. They're spacey or over intellectual, And when you first play with this, I made this choice, or perhaps mistake, perhaps learning opportunity myself, where I was just like, oh, I just want to be on this realm and do the transcendent. But we're here to do both. We're here to manifest, and so the balance is super important. And in that balance, there is an enlightenment of lightening up, like, of bliss and joy that can be found, and realization to what life is. I think a lot of spiritual people withdraw from the world. They can be kind of cynical about the world, and you look at the world sometimes and you're like, wow, it is kind of dark. But with proper practice, and this is why I think the chanting is so great, you see it for what it is. You see the truth behind even the bad and the good, or seemingly bad and good. There's that realization. So let's see. Certainly the body parts of the head, brain, and the nervous system in general. She recommends the practices of meditation, right? Meditation. Yoga poses are sitting still, shavasana, headstand, inversions in general. I've done this before. I don't know if you have, but like if I can't solve a problem, I'll just go and lay down and let blood flow to my head, and then, chant. And, answers do come to me that way, and perhaps they will to you. The symbols and correspondences. The Sanskrit name is Sahasrara. It's so good. Sahasrara. Oh, sorry. Sahasrara. Its meaning is thousand-fold, and the element here is thought. The personal function is understanding, and the inner state is realization. So this realization of who we are in the cosmos, I think, is how I understand that. The realization of the loving awareness and consciousness that is the matrix of the universe. That's something that has come to me in this. And I think the ability to look at something and see the truth behind it, see the deeper truth behind it. This has helped me with this. So the glands are the pituitary, cerebral cortex, prefrontal cortex, and the central nervous system. So when there's a malfunction, depression can arise, which I think is very, very interesting. I think that's why meditation, chanting can, really help depressed states, because you're able to just kind of watch your thought. The realization is also of who you are, which is this observer. There is that part that can observe your thoughts, can observe life as it happens, and practice non-attachment, not detachment so much, because you have to engage in life, right? But non-attachment. Apathy, inability to learn, that these are all malfunctions. So when we work with the vowel sound and the actual bija mantra, if you're feeling all these things, and I come from a family who there is depression in the family for a variety of reasons, and this has helped me with my own. So I highly, highly recommend. The color is violet to white. What else is so? Amethyst and diamonds are the minerals. The Hindu deities are Shiva, Amakala, which is upward moving Shakti, and Varuna. Other pantheons, so Zeus, which I think is very, very interesting. Odin, this is the god of gods of the chakra system. And it's really fantastic because I feel like it can open you up to inner bliss, Sat-Chit-Ananda. So we'll practice that on Thursday, and we'll also practice chakra 6 because we missed it. I missed it last week. Apologies for that. But just stay grounded with it as well. So we'll practice grounding techniques afterwards so that there's just not too much spaciness. You need to come back down, that downward moving Shakti. So it is a beauty. If you have time to read up on it, if you haven't gotten Anadea's books, I highly recommend. And we can move from there. So that is a chakra 7, where you awaken to yourself and to the true nature of the universe. And obviously, there are people who spend 24 hours, 7 days a week doing this in monasteries all over the world. So it won't come overnight, but it will come, piece by piece, but just remembering to stay grounded as well, doing things that bring you back to the reality of your life. For me, a lot of times it's housework. I think there's a Zen expression like after ecstasy, the laundry, like we move forward with life. So thank you so much for being here today. I really, really appreciate it. Namaste and thank you. And we will practice on Thursday. And if you have time, read up more on chakra 7. I highly recommend it. So thank you. Have a lovely, lovely Tuesday.